today we're going to answer a very important question that has been a source of confusion and a lot of people are really asking. Is the principal's test a requirement for the principal item position considering the issuances of DepEd Order 7 Series 2023, and we have a recent issuance given to us? And many were asking, looking at DepEd Order 7 Series of 2023, many are assuming, even I, when I look at the issuance, when you read DepEd Order 7, you might be thinking that the principal item does not require anymore the principal's test or the NQESH. So the source of the problem here really comes upon the issuance of DepEd Order 7. If you look at DepEd Order 7 Series of 2023, the enclosure number 3 of the DepEd Order, by the way, we'll be presenting later on another video about DepEd Order 7 Series of 2023. This is the new guidelines now in terms of the merit and selection plan created by the Department of Education. The MSP has provided for the necessary guideline in order to hire our people based on merit and fitness. The guidelines are very well detailed in the recent issuance as we read DepEd Order 7 Series of 2023. In Enclosure 3 of the DepEd Order, we see the criteria and the point system for hiring the promotion of school administration positions. And one of the things that they have noticed is that doesn't include a clear-cut requirement for the principal's test. In fact, if you look at the point system here for the evaluation, it was only considered one of the criteria. No, it's not considered anymore a requirement sine qua non for the application itself. But the question is it really not a requirement anymore? No. And finally, there is a issuance coming from the Undersecretary for Operations, Attorney Rev C. Escobedo, the USEC, for the Office of Undersecretary for Human Resource and Organizational Development. And this was released April 12, 2023, and it has finally clarified regarding the issue. With the issuance of DepEd Order 7 Series of 2023, guidelines in the recruitment, selection, and appointment in the Department of Education, there are several issues and concerns that have emerged from the field, including the requirement on the national examination of school heads for appointment. And many were asking really about is it not a requirement anymore to entry-level school principal positions. Section 8 of Enclosure number 3, Series of DepEd Order, as if you look at DepEd Order 7 Series of 2023, states that for the purpose of hiring an appointment to entry-level school principal positions, the applicant's score in the principal's test and the national qualifying examinations for school heads or a similar standardized test nationally administered by DepEd shall be the basis for the scoring on the component on the written examination, which is 10 points. Okay? So, is that really not a requirement anymore for you to apply, but just another criteria? So here, we see that the applicant's inability to take the principal's test shall not be considered grounds for disqualification. No test results only mean no score under the written examination component. It was clearly stated there. Now, this statement, the applicant's inability to take the principal's test shall not be considered grounds for disqualification. No test result shall only mean no score under the written examination component. Now, that in a sense, if you really read it, the words of DepEd Order 7 Series of 2023 will tell us that the principal's test is not anymore a requirement. However, if you look at this issuance, it states here that this has resulted to a misconception. So, categorically, it has been considered as a misconception that the NQESH is no longer a requirement in the appointment to entry-level school principal positions. So what is really meant here? We have to find out. In addition, the said provision necessitates a clarification on its relation to DepEd Memorandum Number 100 Series of 2022. Okay? Because that is something na was only released last year. That is DepEd Memorandum Number 100 Series of 22 titled Results of the Fiscal Year 2021 National Qualifying Examination for School Heads, which describes the qualification status of test takers depending on their rating. So this is a little bit confusing because here we see that they were divided into three categories. No, the category A are the ones which are categorically named as eligible. No, so they are the only one who could proceed to the next stage for Principal 1 positions such as interview and paper screening. Okay, so if you look at it, that's around 36.93% passing. That's around 2,203 among the 2021 NQESH, no, that happened. That's 36.93%, 2,203. Now, all of these are eligible to apply. Okay, but here in category B, it states that you may take the next exam. So if you are told that you have to take the next NQESH in 2023 after the provision of coaching and mentoring sessions with an experienced outstanding principal, they shall be prioritized to be designated as officer in charge, teacher in charge in case of deficiency of eligible principal applicants. Now, what does that tell us? No, for category B, it doesn't mean that you will be able to get an item. It doesn't categorically tell us that you are already eligible. Instead, you will be prioritized to become teacher in charge. Now, if you took the test and then you were part of category B, it tells us that you are to be part of those who will be considered for teacher in charge in case of deficiency of eligible Principal 1 applicants. And there is a qualifying provision there. Now, if you look at category C, it's 1,667 of them, the 28%, must undertake a school heads development program through NEAP or authorized external service providers before they are allowed to retake the NQESH in 2024. So here we see that they are the only ones. They are the ones which are only allowed to take on 2024, but taking into consideration that they should take the principals. They should be given training through NEAP or authorized service providers. Now, if you look at this, these categories tells us that only category A are eligible, no, for going to the next position or getting the principal positions. Now, and the end of this memorandum is very clear. It is instructive in a sense. No, it tells us that further, it is also necessary to reiterate the significance of NQESH as the existing mechanism in trying to assess the proficiency of the takers' competencies in becoming a school head based on the Philippine professional standards for school heads, and that is deemed as a dimension of preparedness of aspiring principals. Now, this statement alone could be a possible indication of possible clarificatory issuances later on. That means that there will be an issuance soon given to us that will somehow clarify all this confusion in the field. Is there a need for a principal's test? And then we see here that it is considered an important dimension of preparedness, no? That principals who will be handling the schools, which will be considered as little superintendents and leaders, no, on the field who will lead the schools, are qualified, and they have really, it's essential really to have the examination. However, here in the last paragraph, we see, in view of the reasons above, all schools division superintendent are instructed to hold in abeyance the appointment of school principal 1 position until DepEd memorandum clarifying this concern is issued. Okay, so here we see the importance of this new issuance, no, and the possible, my own foresight is that the Department of Education is trying to emphasize, no, that there is a need for us to have this examination, the NQESH, the principal's test, as a qualification, no, sine qua non before you can really apply. No, that means it is a requirement for them to really get hold of a principal item. Okay, although this, I'm sure this will be issued soon. We are hoping that the Department of Education will be able to guide us as to how this will be done. However, my own opinion regarding this, that the stringent requirements for a principal is also important because these are field leaders. Okay? Remember, these are field leaders and they will be leading schools and their qualifications are very important. And I am hoping that schools will, and superintendents and the division offices will consider the guidelines provided here, no? In category A, category B, category C, no? We should try to only designate those people as officer in charge if they qualify under category B. Okay? In a sense, no, there should be a ranking because you cannot just designate TICs without necessary background check because that is a very complicated position. However, I would like to emphasize, no, that if there is an examination for the principal who will be leading the schools, how come there is no examination required for supervisors who are having higher positions, no, using these very high positions, which is also equally important. Remember, the supervisors, the PSDSS, they can have that position even without passing any of this examination. Okay? And remember, they will be leading, automatically they are also leading principals. Okay? So sometimes if DepEd is going to revisit our issuances, hopefully, no, I'm just praying that they can also revisit the qualification standards of those who are above the principal because we are trying to impose very stringent qualifications for the principal. We let them take an examination, but for higher positions, no issues with the third level positions because we have examinations for them. We have the SESWE, the SESI positions, the different stages for career executive service eligibility. But for other second level positions like supervisors, PSDSS, how about them? No, if we are to revisit really the qualification, the minimum qualification standards, hopefully, no, we can also revisit what is the qualification standards for other second level positions, even higher than school principal. And the people who are leading the school principals are not even passers, no, of this kind of examination. And I'm not saying that they are not qualified, but if we are going to put a very stringent measure to those lower positions, how about the higher positions? Okay? Or is it something also that we have to consider? Now, considering that these are very complicated positions, these are leadership positions that can really affect how our learners and how we deliver quality education to our learners. Okay, so hopefully this has guided some of our followers here in YouTube. Please, just stay tuned with us. We will be uploading more updates regarding the qualification standards and the right procedures in the new guidelines provided by the Department of Education. Hopefully, and praying that this will help us really promote our people, or accept people here in the Department of Education with more better qualifications to better serve and deliver quality education to our learners. That is what we all want, the best and the best for our learners. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in our next video. Thank you.